Have you ever stopped to think about how machines built to survive the chaos of the World War II were simply left behind, as if they had never existed? Trucks that faced mud, snow, explosions, and impossible missions ended up abandoned in forests, deserts, and even at the bottom of the water. But what would make a machine so essential to war be discarded like that? Was it a lack of value, or a situation so extreme that recovery simply wasn't possible? Today, you're about to go on a journey through some of the most unbelievable stories of military trucks that had completely unexpected endings. Ready to discover how these legendary machines ended up in the most unlikely places on Earth? Stay with me, because the last one on this list is going to surprise you. Bedford OYD. The Bedford OY and its OYD variant emerged in the early 1940s, manufactured by the British company Bedford in the United Kingdom at a critical moment when the country needed reliable vehicles to keep its wartime logistics alive. These trucks were widely used for transporting troops, supplies, and light equipment, playing a key role in keeping front lines supplied across different scenarios. They featured an inline six-cylinder engine with about 3.5 liters, producing approximately 72 horsepower. It wasn't an impressive number, but it was enough to get the job done efficiently. Acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour wasn't really relevant in a military context, and its top speed was around 65 kilometers per hour. The cylinder configuration was simple, with a six-cylinder engine focused more on durability than performance. The transmission was manual, with short gearing, ideal for rough terrain and heavy loads. In terms of suspension, it used rigid leaf springs with rear-wheel drive, which limited its performance in more extreme terrain, but still delivered solid toughness. Visually, it was a compact truck with simple and functional lines. The engine sound was steady and reliable, almost like a mechanical clock. The cabin was narrow, with just enough space for the driver and a passenger, with no comfort at all. In practice, it was used for general transport, base maintenance, and logistical support in both urban and rural environments. Over time, it became a symbol of simple and efficient British engineering, being preserved in museums and collections. Interestingly, many of these models were abandoned in European fields after the war, because the cost of transporting them back was higher than their value. And if that already sounds like a strange fate, just wait until you see what comes next. Chevrolet G506. Produced in the United States during the 1940s, the Chevrolet G506 was one of the most important medium-duty trucks used by the American Army. It was created to meet the urgent need for mobility and took part in operations across multiple continents. Equipped with an inline six-cylinder engine with about 3.9 liters, it delivered approximately 83 horsepower. Its top speed reached around 75 kilometers per hour, making it relatively agile for military standards. With a six-cylinder engine, it combined durability with relatively simple maintenance. The manual transmission offered good power distribution, allowing it to handle a variety of terrains. The suspension also used leaf springs, combined with 4x4 traction, which was already a major step forward compared to simpler models. Its design was robust, with a wider cabin and strong presence, conveying a constant sense of strength. It was used for troop transport, ambulances, and even communication vehicles. Its legacy is strong, being remembered as one of the pillars of American military logistics. Many of them were abandoned on Pacific Islands, left behind after operations ended, slowly rusting under the tropical climate. And that's still nothing compared to what's coming next. Studebaker US6. The Studebaker US6 began production in 1941 in the United States, built by the manufacturer Studebaker, at a time when American industry was fully focused on supplying Allied forces during the World War II. Interestingly, despite being an American truck, It became far more famous outside the country, especially in the Soviet Union, where it was delivered in large numbers through military aid programs. It featured an inline six-cylinder engine with approximately 5.2 liters, producing around 94 horsepower. It may not sound like much, but the power delivery was extremely consistent, ideal for long-distance operations. Its top speed was around 72 kilometers per hour, with smooth and progressive acceleration focused on endurance rather than speed. The six-cylinder engine configuration ensured smooth and reliable operation, even in harsh conditions such as extreme cold and nearly non-existent roads. The transmission was manual, with well-spaced gears, allowing the driver to precisely control power in difficult terrain. In terms of suspension, it used reinforced leaf springs combined with 6x6 traction, turning this truck into a true off-road military machine. It was capable of crossing deep mud, heavy snow, and completely destroyed terrain. The Studebaker US6 stood out for its robust size and long body. The engine sound was deep and constant, conveying confidence. Behind the wheel, the driver could feel the weight of the machine responding firmly to every command. In practice, it was mainly used for transporting supplies, ammunition, and even rocket launch systems in adapted versions. It became a key component in heavy logistical operations. Its cultural impact is massive, especially in Russia, where it is still remembered as one of the most important trucks of the war, even outperforming many local models in efficiency. And here's something remarkable. Many of these trucks were simply abandoned in frozen regions after the war, remaining buried under snow for decades, and later being discovered in surprisingly preserved condition. And if that already sounds extreme, the next truck takes things even further. GMC CCKW 353. Produced starting in 1941 by GMC in the United States, the CCKW 353 quickly became one of the most iconic and widely used trucks among Allied forces. It was created in a context where mobility was essential, especially in large-scale operations like the invasions across Europe. It was equipped with an inline six-cylinder engine with around 4.4 liters, delivering approximately 91 horsepower. Its top speed reached about 72 kilometers per hour, with steady power delivery ideal for long-distance hauling under load. The six-cylinder engine provided a solid balance between performance and durability. The manual transmission featured multiple gear options, allowing it to adapt both to roads and heavily damaged terrain. The suspension used reinforced leaf springs combined with 6x6 traction, giving the truck excellent ability to overcome obstacles while maintaining stability with heavy cargo. Visually, it was imposing, with strong lines and a commanding presence. The engine sound was full and deep, almost like a constant reminder that the machine was ready for anything. The cabin was simple, but offered good visibility for the driver. In practice, it was used for almost everything, transporting troops, ammunition, fuel, and even portable bridges. It was often referred to as the true workhorse of the war. Its legacy is so strong that it became a symbol of American military logistics, and many units are still restored and preserved today. An interesting detail is that after D-Day, several of these trucks were abandoned in France, simply because new units kept arriving in large numbers, making some of them almost disposable. Are you enjoying this journey through the most forgotten machines of the war? Then make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss anything like this. And if this one already impressed you, the next takes Raw Tower to another level. Diamond T980. The Diamond T980 was developed in the United States as a heavy recovery truck, specifically designed to tow tanks and extremely heavy vehicles on the battlefield. It emerged in a scenario where recovering damaged equipment was just as important as advancing. Under the hood, it carried a massive inline six-cylinder engine with over 11 liters, producing around 185 horsepower. More than speed, the focus here was torque, pure pulling force capable of moving massive loads. Its top speed was around 60 kilometers per hour. The six-cylinder engine configuration was extremely robust, built to handle continuous heavy strain. The transmission was manual, with both long and low gearing, allowing complete control over power delivery. The suspension used a reinforced leaf spring system, combined with 6x4 traction, focused on stability when towing extremely heavy loads. Visually, it was enormous. Just looking at it was enough to feel its presence. The engine sound was deep and heavy, almost like a constant growl. The cabin was large but entirely functional, with no comfort features. In practice, it was used to recover damaged tanks, pull stuck vehicles, and keep the battlefield operational. Its legacy is one of pure brute force, being considered one of the most powerful trucks of its time. And here's something striking. Some of these trucks were found abandoned, still attached to destroyed tanks, as if time had frozen that exact moment in history. If that already feels absurd, the next one shows a completely different side of the war. Dodge WC52. WC54. The Dodge WC52 and WC54 models began production in the early 1940s in the United States, built by Dodge at a time when the conflict demanded not only brute force, but also agility and direct support for soldiers on the battlefield during the World War II. While the WC52 was designed for light utility transport, the WC54 stood out as an ambulance, playing a critical role in saving lives in the middle of chaos. Under the hood, these vehicles featured an inline six-cylinder engine with approximately 3.8 liters, delivering around 92 horsepower. It was a balanced level of power, enough to ensure fast mobility, even when fully loaded. Its top speed was around 80 kilometers per hour, which was quite impressive for a military vehicle of that time. The six-cylinder engine configuration provided stable and reliable operation, something essential in rescue missions where any failure could cost lives. The transmission was manual, with direct engagement and short gearing, allowing quick response in emergency situations. In terms of suspension, it used reinforced leaf springs combined with 4x4 traction, ensuring good capability across mud, damaged roads, and uneven terrain without losing stability. These were compact vehicles compared to the larger trucks on this list, but they still had a strong presence. The WC54 in particular featured an enclosed body adapted for medical use, with an organized interior space for stretchers and equipment. The engine sound was steady, almost like a continuous pulse in the middle of chaos. In practice, these vehicles were used for rapid troop transport, evacuation of wounded soldiers, and direct medical support on the front lines. They could reach places where larger trucks simply couldn't, making a real difference in critical situations. And here's something that really stands out. Many of these vehicles were found abandoned, with medical equipment still inside, as if their mission had been suddenly interrupted, freezing that exact moment in time. And if these already carry powerful stories, the next one takes the idea of strength to an even more brutal level. Mack Nose 7.5-ton 6x6. The Mack Nose 7.5-ton 6x6 was developed in the United States by Mack Trucks as an extremely heavy-duty vehicle designed specifically to transport large artillery in environments where roads barely existed. It emerged in a context where moving massive cannons was just as challenging as using them. Under the hood, it featured an inline six-cylinder engine with around 11 liters, capable of producing approximately 159 horsepower. More than speed, the focus was on torque, continuous pulling power to move massive loads. Its top speed was around 50 kilometers per hour. The six-cylinder engine was extremely robust, built to operate under constant strain. The manual transmission was heavy, with multiple gear ratios, allowing the driver to carefully manage power delivery on steep climbs and unstable terrain. The suspension used reinforced leaf springs, combined with 6x6 traction, allowing the truck to maintain grip even on terrain completely destroyed by war. Visually, it was a giant, tall, wide, and imposing. It demanded attention just by being there. The engine sound was deep and powerful, with vibrations that could be felt from a distance. The cabin was functional, offering just enough space for operation. It was used to tow heavy artillery, such as long-range cannons, playing a key role in battlefield positioning. Its legacy is defined by brute strength, being considered one of the toughest trucks of its time. And there's an impressive detail. Many of these units were abandoned in the deserts of North Africa, where they remained exposed to sun and sand for decades, creating scenes that feel like frozen moments of war. And if that already impresses you, the next one brings a completely different engineering approach. AEC Matador. The AEC Matador was produced in the United Kingdom by the Associated Equipment Company starting in the late 1930s, becoming one of the main artillery support vehicles during the World War II. It was created in a context where quickly repositioning artillery could determine the outcome of a battle. Under the hood, the Matador used a 4-cylinder engine with approximately 7.6 liters, producing around 95 horsepower. Even with fewer cylinders, the large displacement ensured strong and consistent torque delivery. Its top speed was around 65 kilometers per hour, focused entirely on endurance rather than speed. The 4-cylinder engine configuration was unusual for a vehicle of this size, but extremely effective for its purpose. The transmission was manual, with well-distributed gears, allowing precise control of power across different terrains. The suspension relied on reinforced leaf springs, combined with 4x4 traction, giving it solid performance on unstable surfaces, such as mud and loose ground. It was designed to keep moving, even when conditions were working against it. Visually, the AEC Matador had a very distinct identity. Its forward-positioned cab gave it a unique profile compared to traditional trucks. The engine sound was sharper and direct, with a firm rhythm that conveyed durability. Driving it gave a strong sense of control, even in challenging conditions. In practice, it was mainly used to tow artillery and transport military equipment in difficult environments. It was a reliable vehicle that consistently delivered under pressure. Its cultural impact remains strong, especially in the United Kingdom, where it is seen as a symbol of efficient wartime engineering. Many units have been restored and preserved as historical pieces, and here's something that really stands out. After the war, many of these trucks were simply left behind in European fields, some still in working condition. Over time, they remained there, silent, as if waiting for orders that would never come. In some locations, partially intact units can still be found, carrying the marks of time, but preserving the essence of what they once were. And when you look at one of these abandoned trucks today, you're not just seeing metal standing still. You're looking at a frozen piece of history where every detail once had a vital purpose. And if this one already impresses you with what it represents, the next pushes adaptation to its absolute limit. Opel Blitz Maultier. The Opel Blitz Maultier was a solution created by Germany during the World War II to face one of the biggest challenges of the conflict, the heavy mud and snow of the Eastern Front. Based on the traditional Opel Blitz, it was adapted to operate where regular trucks simply could not move. Under the hood, it used an inline 6-cylinder engine with approximately 3.6 liters, producing around 75 horsepower. It may not sound like much, but the difference here was not raw power, but how that power reached the ground. Its top speed was around 40 kilometers per hour, limited by its unique traction system. The 6-cylinder engine ensured stable operation, even in extremely low temperatures. The manual transmission was tuned to prioritize torque at low speeds, essential for maintaining traction in difficult terrain. The suspension featured a hybrid traction system, In the front, conventional wheels. In the rear, a track system, similar to armored vehicles. This allowed the truck to move through deep mud and heavy snow, where others would get stuck. Visually, the Maultier was unlike anything else. The combination of a truck with tracks created an almost improvised appearance, but highly functional. The sound was a mix of the engine and the metallic movement of the tracks, creating a distinctive and unforgettable noise. It was used to transport supplies in regions where logistics were nearly impossible. It was a clear attempt to keep operations going despite extreme conditions. Its legacy is one of extreme adaptation, remembered as a creative solution in the face of logistical desperation. And what makes it even more striking is that many of these vehicles were found decades later, completely frozen in Russian regions, some still carrying cargo, as if they had been abandoned in a sudden moment. The ice preserved parts of their structure, turning them into true time capsules. Looking at one of these trucks today, covered in rust and marked by time, it's impossible not to imagine the environment it once operated in. The extreme cold, the hostile terrain, and the urgency of every mission. It wasn't just a vehicle. It was a desperate answer to keep moving forward. And if this represents adaptation at its limit, the next vehicle doesn't just face extreme environments, it completely ignores the boundary between land and water. DUKW. The DUKW was developed in 1942 in the United States by General Motors in partnership with military engineers, at a time when Allied forces urgently needed a solution for amphibious operations during World War II. It was created to solve a very specific problem: transporting troops and supplies directly from the sea to land without relying on port infrastructure. It featured an inline six-cylinder engine with approximately 4.4 liters, producing around 91 horsepower. On land, its top speed reached about 80 kilometers per hour, while in water, it operated at around 10 kilometers per hour, showing its versatility across completely different environments. The six-cylinder engine ensured stable and reliable performance, even when switching between land and water. The manual transmission was adapted to handle both road travel and aquatic movement. The suspension used reinforced leaf springs, combined with 6x6 traction, delivering excellent mobility on land. In the water, it relied on a propeller system, allowing continuous movement without external adaptation. Visually, the DUKW was unlike anything else at its time. Its design resembled a boat hull with wheels, giving it a unique and unmistakable presence. The sound of the engine combined with movement in water created a completely different sensory experience, almost as if two machines were working together. In practice, it was essential in amphibious operations, especially during large-scale landings where every second mattered. It transported troops, ammunition, and equipment directly from water to the front lines, eliminating critical logistical steps. Its cultural impact is massive, being considered one of the greatest innovations of the war. Even today, many units have been restored and are used in tourist operations, proving the effectiveness of its design decades later. And here's something remarkable. Many DUKWs were found years after the war submerged in rivers, lakes, and coastal areas, some still relatively preserved by the water. In certain cases, their structure remains surprisingly intact, as if time itself slowed down around them. Looking at one of these vehicles today feels like facing a machine that pushed the limits of engineering in its era. It didn't just cross difficult terrain, it crossed entirely different worlds. Land and water were no longer barriers, just part of the journey. And after everything you've seen, it's impossible not to recognize that this isn't just the most impressive truck on the list. It's one of the most ingenious machines ever created. These trucks were far more than simple vehicles. They faced the most extreme environments imaginable and played a crucial role in some of the most decisive moments in history. Even so, Many were forgotten, abandoned, and left behind, as if everything they went through had simply been erased over time. And that's exactly what makes these machines so fascinating today. Now tell me in the comments, which of these trucks impressed you the most? Which one do you think had the most absurd fate? And which one would you want to see up close someday? If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. That really helps the channel grow and allows more people to discover stories like these. And stay tuned, because there's always a new video coming.